Hello everyone, Mr. Money1235 back here yet again. Happy Friday. I just got back from seeing Doctor Strange and the Multi-Universe of Madness or whatever last night at the opening night, the Thursday night showings before the official release today. I'm not sure where I would rank it. It would probably be near the lower middle of this list that I'm about to give to you guys. I liked the movie for sure. I like that it continued the story. I'm not going to spoil anything. The movie is a little bit too new for me to be talking about it that way, but I did like it. It's just not one of my favorite MCU movies. So anyway, that's kind of my opinion on that. I'm not going to be like ranking it along with the rest of these because I haven't really had long enough to think about it, but I definitely wanted to at least mention that. Before we get into the countdown here, this is something that I've been kind of caring about for the past, like, maybe 3 years or so, shortly before Infinity War came out. I used to be a huge Marvel hater. I used to think that these were nothing but big, dumb action movies with corny dialogue, and my friends were all obsessed with it, and I didn't care nothing about it until I had the opportunity to watch the first Iron Man movie, like on a streaming service that didn't cost me anything, because I knew that was the first movie that started this whole timeline or whatever. So I checked it out and I was like, that movie was actually really, really good. And it made me curious about the rest of the story. And from then on, I kind of grew to love it. Then I went to the Infinity War screening with my friends. And ever since that moment, I've been keeping up with it pretty hardcore. And I like a lot of these movies now. So anyway, this is my countdown ranking my favorite MCU Marvel movies. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Another cozy video for your Friday. Starting off the countdown, unsurprisingly, is the Incredible Hulk. This movie is not good. It's just not good. I don't like that it's a different actor. It's not Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton playing the Hulk. I don't understand why that movie is part of or canon with the MCU. I mean, I get it. The general shows up at the end to offer him the position. I mean, they fit it in or whatever, but at the same time, I don't know. This movie just isn't that good. I don't know. I skip it every single time I watch through the MCU. I really don't care about it that much. Next up is Iron Man 2. With how great the first Iron Man was, I was a little surprised at the huge downgrade I felt the sequel was. The only really great part about this movie is the introduction of Black Widow. And after that, I don't know, I also kind of skip this one most of the time. I just use her intro or her introduction in the first Avengers movie as kind of the way that I introduce people to her, because it's a badass scene of her escaping a hostage situation and tricking the hostage guy into thinking that she's helpless, but she can kick his ass at any time. I like that. I think it works enough where this movie just doesn't. I find it kind of boring. I don't like the villain either. I don't know. Iron Man 2, don't care for it that much. I got nothing to show you, but next up on this list is Black Widow. The only thing I can say about the movie Black Widow is it's too little, too late. That movie should have came out freaking 10 years ago. I just didn't like the movie that much. It just, I don't know. I like it more than Iron Man 2, but I don't know. I didn't care for the movie that much. I found some of the jokes to be kind of juvenile. I didn't really like the introduction of her sister. Her introduction of her sister in Hawkeye was fucking badass on Disney Plus. I really enjoyed Hawkeye. Really enjoyed Loki. Really enjoyed WandaVision. Didn't really care too much for Falcon Winter Soldier. Watched through that like one time. I don't think I'd ever watch that again. I'm not going to talk about the TV shows. But anyway, yeah, Black Widow, just wasn't super impressed with it. And just, I think it came out at the wrong time, especially after Endgame. I don't know, I thought it was a weird time for that movie to come out. The pandemic didn't help anything either, but yeah, just not a very good movie. I would say next up after Black Widow would probably be Eternals for me. Um, Eternals, I actually thought was a lot better than people are giving it credit for, but as a continuing story thing with a bunch of characters that we've never seen before, the movie felt kind of melodramatic and a little slow at some points. I still really thought it was cool, the whole like this whole group of people that have been living throughout all of fucking human history or whatever in the background and protecting us from these alien celestial things or whatever. I thought the movie was pretty good, but definitely felt different than some of the MCU movies, the other MCUs. The tone wasn't quite the same, I felt like, in Eternals. But still not as bad as I think some people make it out to be. So anyway, next up after Eternals, I would probably say Captain Marvel. Once again, I actually did have some fun in Captain Marvel. I'm not going to go into the whole feminist propaganda bullshit that people were talking about around the time that this came out. This all stupid woke internet shit. I just care if the movie's good. I don't care if the main lead is a woman at all. It doesn't make any difference. I thought Captain Marvel was pretty good. I don't know. I liked it. I like seeing the background, I like seeing like the stuff with Nick Fury in this movie, his kind of origins or whatever. I thought that was cool. So yeah, I like Captain Marvel. I don't think it's as bad as some people say. I don't know, my opinion. Next up is Thor: The Dark World. This one gets ranked pretty low every single time people make a video about this. And I agree, it's definitely the weakest Thor movie, but I definitely don't think it's the weakest movie of the entire MCU. I don't know, it continues the story pretty good. There's some cool imagery and stuff like that. The stuff with Loki's pretty good at the end. I don't know, it deals with some cool spacey stuff or whatever. I don't know. It's definitely not the best. It's definitely not one of the best. It's definitely not even a top 10, as you can tell. But I definitely don't think it's the worst movie of the whole MCU. But Thor: The Dark World, I kind of agree with the common opinion on this one, but at the same time, I don't think it's as bad as people say. Next up is Black Panther. I actually watched this again just recently, just like the past 3 days or so, and just to try to remember if I like this a little bit more than I'm thinking in my head. And it's still kind of middle of the road for me. I'm not a racist for saying this. For God's sake, it's a movie. It's a stupid comic book movie. That's what was going on at the time this shit came out. I like this movie just fine. But the problem is I find it to be only just fine. I feel like it gets a little bit bogged down in the second half. It gets a little boring there. And the CGI looks fucking horrible near the end, which is hilarious for like a 2018 movie. Yeah, it's fine. It's completely fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just fine. It's kind of good. It's okay. I like it. The stuff with Martin Freeman's really funny in it too, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, Black Panther. Next up is the first Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd. I think he's hilarious, and I'm glad that he's Ant-Man in this whole thing. I think he's a great choice for that character. And this movie's cute. That's how I describe it. I like the whole father-daughter thing and him being an ex-con and stuff like that. And I don't know. I like this movie. I don't love this movie, but I really like this movie a lot. I felt like the sequel was a little bit better. I thought the sequel was a little bit more engaging. I'm looking forward to the third one coming out next year sometime. So, Ant-Man, I think it's pretty good. I think it's fun. Next up is the first Thor movie. Once again, I think this movie's good. I think it's a great introduction. I love the stuff with Loki and his backstory or whatever that kind of started the whole thing of why we care about Avengers, honestly, the first Avengers movie. I like it. I like the first Thor movie. I think it's really, really good. I think it's one of the better ones of the phase one of the MCU. Personally, it's pretty good. You know, Natalie Portman's hot. She's one of my actresses that I personally find really attractive. So I like watching it for that reason. Yeah, but yeah, Thor's pretty good. Thor's good. I like Thor. Actually, next up is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Found this movie to be pretty fun. Pretty fun. Definitely not one of my top tier absolute favorites of the whole thing or whatever, but once again, I find the movie to be really fun. I do find it to be better than the first one, which is saying a lot in my opinion. I like the villain. I like the kind of sentimental story going on in the plot here, and yeah, the movie's fun. The movie's good. It's just fun. In my opinion, Captain America, the First Avenger, the very first Captain America movie, I personally find it to be probably the best origin movie of Phase 1 besides the first Iron Man. I definitely think it's the best. The first Iron Man and this and Avengers is the top three for me personally of Phase 1. I just like the scenery of this, like the old timey kind of World War One scenery, and then I really like the transition into how he like gets frozen, and then he comes back out and he thinks he's in like a fake New York, and then psych, you've been frozen for like fucking 1,000 years. I don't know, I like that stuff. The relationship with him and Peggy is really good. The relationship with him and Bucky is really good. Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. I definitely think it's one of the best origin movies from Phase 1. I personally feel like this shit got even better as we go on through more phases, but I really like this movie. Next on the list is Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. I thought this movie was a hell of a lot of fun. The choreography was great. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Shang-Chi in future MCU things, because, this movie's still pretty new right now, but I really enjoy it. I really, really like it. I liked it enough to buy a copy. It's about this point right here where it was getting super friggin' hard for me to rank these movies. So, honestly, some of these are going to be interchangeable from this point on. But, yeah, I really like Shang-Chi a lot. The ending battle was fucking cool as hell. I like the tie-in with the Mandarin from, Iron Man 3. Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the MCU. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I find the first one to be better, but I also think that this movie was a lot of fun, had a whole lot of heart, a lot of really emotional moments with the whole family and Peter's dad thing and the sad realization, the baby Groot. It's hilarious. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my top three of the favorite MCU characters, and I absolutely love what they're doing with Love and Thunder coming out later this year. I'm super excited to just see Thor and the Guardians hanging out again, and directed by Taika Waititi, which I love because Ragnarok is one of my favorite movies of this whole thing. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I find the first one to be better, but I still think this is a lot of fun. Rocket's great. Everybody's great. The Guardians of the Galaxy is just freaking great. The soundtrack is great too. I love me that old pop music. That's good stuff. Next up is Iron Man 3. I probably rank this a little bit higher than most MCU fans do, but I really, really enjoy this movie. I like Iron Man 3 a lot. I like him, the going to Tennessee and the snow thing or whatever, and his whole house getting bombed and shit, and some really cool moments in this movie. And I like the ending fight or whatever. Iron Man 3 is cool. I like the part where he's sneaking into the Mandarin's compound and he's got to use his wits to like build these like rinky-dink little weapons and stuff like that. It's fun. It's cool. I like Iron Man 3 a lot. personally. So, yep, that's probably an unpopular opinion. Next up is Spider-Man Far From Home. I absolutely love the Spider-Man movies in the MCU here. Tom Holland's great. Some of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time. You know, I really enjoyed them Tobey Maguire days. I grew up on that stuff. I grew up on that trilogy. And we're going to get to the new one, trust me. But Far From Home is just personally my least favorite of the trilogy, the second one, where it goes to Europe. I just find it to be the worst one of the three Spider-Man movies from this so far. You know, I love Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio and all that stuff. I just personally find it to be the one that had the least heart, I guess. It's still a great movie. Still a great movie. It still makes this list. It's just personally my least favorite of the trilogy, that's all. Next up is the very first Iron Man, the movie that started it all. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I never get sick of rewatching this. Whenever somebody wants to try to get into the MCU for the first time, I actually really look forward to showing them this, because it got me, and it gets most of the people who I've seen watch it, and it's a lot of fun. The first Iron Man, I mean, you just can't go wrong with it. It's great. It's so good. I love it. I love the first Iron Man. Next up is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Love this movie. It's like hinging on a political thriller. There's a whole lot of twists and turns that happen in this movie. A lot of reveals happen in this movie. Like, the story really gets big with some shit that goes down in this. It just changes the whole course of the thing. And yeah, Winter Soldier's fucking badass, man. I love the whole teamwork thing with Cap and Black Widow going out through the whole thing. Makes me kind of want to rewatch this. It's been a little while, but it's so cool. It's like a really grounded movie. There's a whole lot more people just, you know, like using guns and stuff. You know, like, it's not like this, you know, flying around special effects bonanza thing. It's a more grounded superhero movie too. Really, really good. I like it. Next up is Spider-Man Homecoming, the first Spider-Man movie of the trilogy. Absolutely love it. The relationship with him and Iron Man makes this shit for me. I think it's hilarious, their relationship. I think this movie is funny as hell. It's charming. It has its own style to it. I love the whole thing with him and Vulture, and the twist with Vulture, with him and the girl that he likes or whatever. Love that. This movie's so much fun. It's hilarious. It's got a lighthearted tone, and it's like, I don't know. I love the feel of these Spider-Man movies in this MCU trilogy thing. It's been great. It's been great, and this one started it for Tom Holland, I guess, before his reveal in Civil War. But really, really liked it a lot. Love them. Love Homecoming. Next up is Doctor Strange, the first one. I like this movie a lot. It's funny, when I first saw this movie, I didn't think too much of it when I was first going through the MCU. But over time, this movie just keeps growing on me and growing on me and growing on me. And I really like the imagery and the cool effects and the music and I love Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. I love anything with Mads Mikkelsen. Benedict Cumberbatch is great, of course. I love the whole, like, him learning and he's not really good at the shit at first or whatever. I love watching him try and fail and all that stuff. And I just really like this movie. I really, really enjoy it. I like it more than Multiverse of Madness. I like it more than the sequel. Easily. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. This movie is underrated, in my opinion. I love the first Doctor Strange. Next up is Thor Ragnarok, my absolute favorite Thor movie. Taika Waititi had made this movie fucking hilarious. I love the 80s kind of synthesizery soundtrack and the colors of the planet, and Jeff Goldblum's character in this movie is fucking hilarious. I love every scene that he's in with the sparkly hands, and the way he talks is just, It's so fucking funny to me. I love the Jeff Goldblum kind of impressionist. He was perfect for that role. I love him and, the Hulk getting together or whatever. It's just, the whole thing is just a laugh riot. It's funny, it's colorful, the music's great. Just Ragnarok kicks fucking ass, dude. I love this movie. I love it. Next up is the very first Guardians of the Galaxy. I said it's one of my favorites, and goddamn, this movie, man, it's actually what started my kind of started my love for the MCU. Before I even watched the first Iron Man, I went and saw this in theaters because my friends would not shut up about how great it was. And I had a fucking blast watching this, having no idea about the Infinity Stones or nothing. Luckily, you didn't really need to know that much about that stuff to get this movie. So I got lucky with that one. But yeah, man, the soundtrack is so fucking good for this movie. I can't even listen to that. If you're like pina coladas, I can't even listen to that without thinking about space because of this movie. And freaking love it, dude. I love it. It's so fun. It's so funny. I love the characters. Chris Pratt fucking makes this shit. I love Rocket, Groot, Gamora. I love all of them. It's funny as fuck. I love it. Next up is the very first Avengers movie. Once again, people say it's the gold standard. People say it's the best of the whole fucking thing. And it's definitely close. I definitely agree with that. Shit, man. I mean, you can't beat watching them all together for the very first time. I wish I was there, man. I wish I could go back in time and make myself care about this shit and be there for the very first screening of this in some theater somewhere and been cheering and screaming with everybody. I missed out on that, but I'm luckily I got in on the Infinity War train. But yeah, man, the first Avengers, classic as fuck, one of the best. Absolutely love it. Next up is Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie is so fucking insane and fun. The way that all of the three Spider-Man interact with each other from their different universes and stuff like that is just hilarious to me. I love their banter, them conversating about how Tobey Maguire shoots webs from his body and stuff like that, because I was thinking that shit when I was watching this movie, and then they mention it on the screen, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I had so much fun watching this movie. I just watched it a few nights ago, and I'd watch it again. I love the whole introduction with the villain. My puppy dog is here to say how much she loves Spider-Man 2. But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home. I had a fucking blast with this movie, and I don't think it's just because it's one of the more recent MCUs that I'm putting it this high. I generally really, really enjoyed this movie. I really have a lot of fun with it. I had way more fun with it than I did the new Doctor Strange, that's for damn sure. The only thing I don't like about this movie is the end, because it doesn't make sense. There's some things on here that just do not make sense about the ending. I don't want to go super into it because everybody has their own different opinions about that. It's like, oh, do no recordings of Spider-Man fucking exist in this world? Did Doctor Strange spell just erase all of that shit? And how the hell did Happy know Peter's mom through Spider-Man if he can't remember who he is in person? That doesn't... Okay, I'm not going to get into it all. I'm sure somebody's going to explain it to me now that I've actually said it out loud. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, I still... Fucking hell, it's a lot of fun to watch this movie, though. I mean, like, the hours just fly by watching this. It's so easy. It's great. Next up is Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, this is a very controversial opinion that I have this placed so high because people really like to fucking dog on this Avengers movie. And I have no fucking idea why! It's great! I absolutely love James Spader as Ultron. I love his voice. God, his voice just makes that fucking character. I love it. Some big shit happens in this movie. The introduction to Vision. I love the party at the beginning where they're all just kind of like normal people hanging out at a party, and then they have to start fighting, and I just love the whole like watching them like be like normal people thing. Like, I love that part. And I don't know, the introduction to Vision, like I said, great. I love the fights in this movie. I love the whole thing with Sokovia near the end. Once again, there's a whole big turning point that happens in this movie. The introduction to Wanda, and yeah, I really like Age of Ultron. I don't get why people dog on this so hard. So yeah, Age of Ultron's fucking great. I have a shit ton of fun watching them kick some robot ass, man. I think it's great. It's a lot of fun, dude. Next up for me is Captain America Civil War. What I love about this is technically it's the third Captain America movie. It feels like a fucking Avengers movie, and that's why I have this so goddamn high. I love the tension between Iron Man and Captain America in this movie. I love the tension. I love the airplane fight. I love that shit. I love how nobody can agree on this certain situation, or what team are you on. It forces the audience to try to pick a side, and it's like, like I can see the point from either side, and it's like you don't know, like it's just I find so much intensity kind of wrapped up in there with the audience having to choose as well, and this movie's just a ton of fun. I love Zemo as well. I love that actor who plays Zemo in general. But yeah, this is a great movie. This is a fucking awesome movie. Once again, the time just flies by when I watch this shit too. It's just, this is good. This is really, really good. I love it. It's really fun. It's really cool. Next up is Avengers Affinity War. This is where shit starts getting real. This movie is tight. This movie is tight. Just the amount that they're able to do with so many damn characters and make it feel consistent and have the stakes be so real, and that fucking gut-wrenching ending is just fucking awesome. Absolutely love this Avengers movie. Like, you feel the desperation, and Thanos is just this huge being that can't even be punched, like a drop of blood, as they say in the movie. It's just like he can't be fucking defeated, and they don't know what to do, and it's like the movie just fits all this shit together so well, and some of their reveals or whatever, how characters were introduced, is so cool. And it's such a great movie. Oh my god, it's so great. I love it so much. Probably my favorite MCU movie is still probably Endgame. I personally thought this movie was a shit ton of fun. When I saw it in theaters, I went and saw it in theaters twice. And both times, that 3 hours felt like fucking nothing. I felt like I was sitting there for like an hour. I was so fucking engaged and entertained by the story of this thing. I love the time travel plot thing. I thought that was so much fucking fun when they go back to the first movie and shit, and watching Loki steal the Tesseract and go into his own TV show. I love the connection there, and it's just so much good shit that happens in this. The ending doesn't make sense. I mean, once again, if they made a whole big deal in this movie about the whole timeline split thing, shouldn't have Captain America came back on the platform that he teleported from when he went to take all the stones back? Why would he just be sitting on the bench as an old man? He wouldn't be back in that timeline. That's the only thing that didn't make any sense about this, but I love the ending. I love where all the characters end up in this. Oh my god, I remember when I was in the theater watching this for the first time, and all the characters were coming back through the portals or whatever at the end of the blip, and I was like, I could feel myself fucking getting emotional. It was fucking insane the first time I saw that shit, and that feeling has fucking stuck with me ever since I saw this for the first time, and I think it's that feeling right there that makes this so high for me, because I've not felt an emotional, I want to cry moment in any of these other moments, other movies, I mean. It's gut-wrenching at the end of Infinity War when Peter Parker turned to dust or whatever. Yeah, it's still probably my favorite MCU movie, Endgame, though. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this 30-something, probably a little less than that, minutes of rambling. I'm going to go try to find something fun to do on my Friday night. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Something a little different, you know what I'm saying? I'll be back really soon. Might do another Blur ranking. Somebody gave me the idea to do that, and I think I'm going to do that because it would be nice to see how my own opinions have changed on one of Blur's albums. It's been a few years since I've done one of those, so be back for that soon. Mr. Woody 1235, I'll see you guys later.